Hello and welcome to Life Clarifications with Natasha. I am here as a multi life intuitive, and I also am a medium, energy seer, spiritual life coach, also. So, with that, I have some skills on me with how to negotiate through a lot of things. And I know there's a lot of us out there that are helping out and doing counseling and sessions and stuff like that. But I just want you to I want to bring something into life's journey with you. So today, my conversation is going to be about going through life altering experiences. And many of us discount what we go through. And, this is something that we want to make sure that when we are going through life, that we kind of pay attention to what we're going through. Because of the fact that when we're going through something, that a lot of us discount it. And that's not what life is wanting us to do. Life is really wanting us to negotiate what's in front of us. So, doing the life altering experiences that we do, and I can include this as, and you use your definition because your truth is your truth. But the life altering experiences are something like job changes, uh, car accidents, becoming a parent, grief in some fashion, in all fashions actually, and becoming engaged with someone who is in your life in a different way, a little deeper, anything and everything that is something that can negotiate to where you sit and take a moment, right? That moment of life. And hi, Stephanie. Thank you for being here. And, when we're going through these moments that, sometimes those are one of the dances of why are we going through these life altering experiences? And I know that Regan and I talked about this a little bit the other day or a couple weeks ago, but, going through things that, it's amazing what happens to us. And, it is an amazing thing. I know that I just went through a personal kind of life altering experience, but it wasn't mine, but it was me witnessing somebody. And I'm not going to talk about it today. It's not for me to speak of yet. It's not in my history yet. It's still in the process, and I want to honor what we're going through. So with but yet everything's good and I trust, surrender, and accept. Guess everything's going to be good. But the thing that I want to offer to you is that when we're going through these life altering experiences, changing, moving, everything like that, that it gets so big sometimes that we have a hard time keeping our feet underneath us, right? But yet, when we do go through these life altering experiences and really take it as like going through the car wash, right? That we kind of get to this moment where it's like, holy crap, I just went through the car wash. I got, those beaters put on you, you get the tumbles that get on you. And then you go through the wishy-washy thingies that wash your vehicle, right? And then you get into the dryer, and then you come out squeaky clean. But not a lot of us, when we're going through that life altering experience, we feel like we're just got done with the car wash. Oh my gosh, we're so discombobulated, right? Because of the fact that when we do this, it does shake us up so that we can become our new normal. And that's the one thing that I want people to understand is the new normal is something that we got to negotiate with, that we got to put forth into being our story. Because the fact that life is never really the same after we go through grief, after we go through job changes. It's like you have to learn how to go to another job, right? You get new acquaintances when you go, and you miss the old ones that you had, right? So there's all of this thing, and I'm going to tell you, grief, when you go through a life altering experience, is part of it. And people don't always think that grief can be a part of a life altering experience. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about one of my life altering experiences. I have had many. deciding which one to talk about. Okay, so here it is. I don't want any sympathy. We all have something. We all have something that we went through. We all have something that we go through, right? But I want you to see how I negotiated it so that you can maybe get some stepping stones yourself. Okay. So one thing that I did was is that I was working in a job situation at a school, and I this position, I ended up being the third on the wheel. So there was two people ahead of me in seniority, right? Well, the numbers dipped down in the students that we were servicing for just the 2 weeks that they were counting money. They were counting the students for. Guess who ended up getting cut from that position? Me. I have felt before that I was going to be cut. I'm intuitive. I really get a sense of things. This time, though, it took my legs out from underneath me. Sometimes when we're even intuitive, things take their legs out from underneath us because of the fact that, and I get this, that sometimes if you know what's going to happen, you perceive how you're going to go through it, and then you don't go through it learning the lessons that you would have when you knew how to go through it or you perceived how to go through it. Isn't that a given? I'm human. I need to learn my lessons and experiences too, right? So with that, I didn't see it coming. And, I really had a relationship with these kids and I had this scenario. But the thing that ended up happening for me is that on this moment where I got called in and said, you know what, Natasha, you're going to have to change positions here. I'm grateful though that the principal that I was working under, that he actually had another position that I can go into. Not one that I really wanted to go into. I felt like I was being demoted. Going from working with students to being on campus safety again, out in the weather. My eyes water, so badly some days. It's like people ask me why I'm crying, right? But I really felt I had to really check in. I really had to check in. Was I meant to do this position? And I felt that, yes, I did. But the one thing though that I had to do going through this situation is that my principal wanted answers. He had a business to do. He wanted things to happen. But the one thing I had to do, and this is the one thing I want you to know when you're going through a life-altering experience, is that you need to take care of you. And this is one thing I told him. I said, okay, I'm really appreciating this situation, but I need to go catch up with myself. Things are changing too fast right now, and I need to go catch up with myself. I'll be right back. And just let me go to the bathroom, let me do whatever I need to do here to get my feet underneath me. So I went in, and this is where being intuitive does help. I checked in with my team, I checked in with my gut, I checked in how this felt. I know my answers for yes or no. I get that heavy feeling when it's a no, and I get a kind of a yeah. And this was kind of one of those yeah feelings, right? Okay. But going into this, that I really was grateful for having something to fall into. It wasn't perfect by any means. But that's the thing when we go through life altering experiences, is that we don't always know what's on the other side of it, right? And so that's where I trust, surrender, accept, because I don't have all the information yet, right? I don't have all the information yet. So what I ended up doing was yes, I'll take that position. Thank you for having a job for me. I'm grateful for that. Well, I had 3 days notice that this position was going to change. Okay. Within those 3 days, my wonderful, wonderful, wonderful little girl, my little Maya, she's my tortie cat. She was my familiar. She ended up saying, I can't be with you anymore, Mom. You're going to go into a new normal, and I can't be here anymore. I just spent this last 7 years of you helping you go through the sobriety of your husband, and I helped you go through the 7 years before sobriety, and I am done. I am done. And so on the last day of my job was the last day of my cat's life. Isn't that a scenario? Isn't that a scenario that everything in my knowings that supported me shifted and changed? But that's what a life-altering experience is that what you have normally isn't normal anymore. And so with that going into that life-altering experience, that I really looked at what was Maya for me. She supported me, she grounded me, she did those things. Well, I didn't have a cat anymore, right? I had to learn how to do things myself. I had to learn to stand on my own 2 feet. I had to learn to do a lot of these things. And it wasn't necessarily that anything. So with that when you're going through a life-altering experience, remember that these are times when the universe says you got to trust yourself a little bit. Go through the grief process. Go through what you're going through. Know that you're okay. I was honest with the with the secretaries at school and stuff like that. And that's the thing about going through life altering experiences. If you can be a little bit honest with things around you and through you and with you, that many times you can get into a scenario where life is happening for you. And I can tell you that being honest, that I actually got a grief day. I was able to take a grief day and, help sit there with my cat, as she was passing. And the magical thing is that my dog, who was very young at this time, probably within a year old, she smelt Maya, who was her kitty too, and then she looked at me and she came and sat on my lap. She never sits on my lap. Came and sat on my lap and looked up at me and looked at Maya and looked at me and looked at Maya. And she was sad. Well, Maya actually wanted to pass away on the dog bed, and that's where she did. She got mad if I wanted to move her. Nope, she wanted to die on the cat bed, right? That's where my intuition helped us. I knew what my cat wanted, and I honored that. But the thing is, though, going through that life altering experience, the gift of it was what? That if I would have stayed in that old position, if I would have stayed in the resource room, I couldn't have taken a part-time job in this situation. I couldn't have just worked 4 hours, minus out the 2. And in this new position, I was able to take the 2 hours and put it towards my business. So now I have more time to have clients and I have more time to do that. So you know what? Sometimes the universe, and this is one thing I want people to realize too, is that sometimes we go through that doorway of a little bit of hell, right? We go through that doorway of unknowing. We go through that doorway of uncertainty. We go through that doorway of grief that is really, really heavy. We go through that doorway of shame and hit and whatever that emotion is. But going through that emotion many times leads us, if we can work through it, if we're willing to negotiate it, that we can get to another place in our life that is going to actually work out for the better, right? So with that being where you're at and what you're doing, remembering that life-altering experience could be getting a ticket because you're speeding, because you learned that huge lesson, right? Another definition of a life-altering experience is that you have a argument with somebody. So going into these life-altering experiences that we it's about remembering that we're human, having a human experience, and whenever we have a human experience that triggers our emotions, there's something to learn from it and grow from it. And sometimes we can't do that when we're going through the life-altering experience. We're not meant to. We're not meant to get everything out of the moment that we're in. But if we stand on our feet a little bit and walk through it and see what it is. And I use mantras like, what is this here to teach me? Where am I supposed to go with this? There's something happening here, and I want to know a little bit more, right? And remembering to breathe and be and be kind to yourself. There's also, like the rescue remedy is a very good thing to take. And actually, my girlfriend, when I was down in California, she suggested that I take that, and I didn't. And I wish I would have. I think it would have helped me out. But sometimes those persevering moments aren't always so graceful, right? So going through a life-altering experience, please don't hold shame for how you do it. We're all human going through it, right? We're actually doing a lot right now with Venus in retrograde, and Mercury's going into retrograde. We're going into a lot of these planets that are retrograding, and we're going to be going through some things in our government. It's a perfect, the planets are really set up for perfect opportunity for things to really change. But what do we do with it, right? What do we do with it? Well, I can tell you that the better thing we can do is go, what can I do to make the decision right now? Do better. Kind of like for me, right before when I found out my job was going to end and a new position was offered to me, I didn't really have another out at that time. And so with that I took it because I didn't have another choice, right? That I knew at that time. And I was grateful for it because I still felt a purpose in it. The thing is, though, that, sometimes we make the decision that we can live with at that moment, right? But remembering, though, that we can maybe later, like now, thinking back, how could I have looked around at other schools to have positions, right? How can I looked around at different positions that I would have had? But the thing is, though, I had to make a choice right then, and I couldn't look around. But I knew, though, that there was an out, that I could have later look at it, right? This is a school that my kids went to. This is a school I've been at for many years. I'm very comfortable there. I.e., yes, I get it. The universe usually pushes us into situations to make us move, right? I get it. I also understand, though, sometimes, though, in the life that I live, that I'm one of the pegs that sometimes sits in a place to help change to happen around me. To help me. And so with that going into this story of who we are and what we're doing, that it is, how do you negotiate what you're going through? We're going to be perfectly imperfect as we do it. So loving yourself through it, giving yourself grace when you're going through it, finding an out. Now, sometimes we need to have an out. Like for me, I go dancing. The other night I went dancing for 8 hours. Can you imagine me dancing for 8 hours? I did. And it felt so good. I was so grateful. And I wasn't sore the next day. I'm in better shape than I thought I was. But movement, when we're going through something mental, be in movement with the physical body. That will go for walks, weight lift, hiking, bike riding, whatever you can do to help yourself go through something. Because the life-altering experience is a very mental and emotional process. But doing things physical can help you stretch those out, right? Process it, move through it. Now, some of our life-altering experiences are personal choices. Imagine that, a life-altering experience that is a personal choice. Well, I'm going to give an example. Right now, I'm going through a rebranding. I started this rebranding process around April. And so that's when instead of being a psychic medium, there's so many psychic mediums out there. And there's a lot of psychic mediums that I really can understand that, well, let me just say there's a lot of spiritual people who aren't very spiritual out there. I'm not going to point fingers. I don't know who it is. I'm not going to claim who it is. That's not for me. I'm not here to judge, right? But I understand that the way that I work, that I am going to support myself in my life calling, because this job, this position that I'm doing, these motivational speakings that I'm doing, my short videos that I'm doing, I can't do anything else but them. That's my life calling. My life calling is to be with you, to help you do your work. Now, if that means that you've watched my videos and you get a perspective, I'm offering perspectives. I'm offering an idea of a shift in who you know you are. That's up to you on what you take from it, right? That's not for me to say. It's for me to offer, and that's about it. So with that going through these, you know, rebranding process has been a choice for myself. Now, what I ended up coming through that rebranding, being a now, because I know that I have had many lifetimes being an intuitive. So I'm a multi-life intuitive because I really look back on my past lives and see how intuitive I was. I'm a medium. I'm a spiritual coach. I'm a spiritual counselor. I actually have I'm a service of a church, right? So not affiliated with churches, but I am a minister that way, so I can do spiritual counseling legally, right? And then at the same time, I'm a medium. I I I talk with spirit, right? I'm a medium. I talk with spirit, and many times it's someone who's passed. Sometimes it's an angel. It's a guide, right? I'm also an energy seer, and that's part of my past life as being a seer, right? But it's an energy seer, so I see emotions, I see, spirits walking, I see a lot of different things like that, right? So going into that knowing of who I am and claiming that. When I went down to California, my girlfriend said, "I have a new podcast for you." Well, I know that the way that I've had my podcasts is that I felt like something was gonna change, but I didn't know how. And I know that my partner on Mondays, Regan Forston, is a very wonderful guy. He would have kept going with me, but something was feeling like it needed to change and I couldn't label it. So I had a communication with her. And I asked him, "How are you feeling about this?" And he said, "Frankly, Natasha, we've been doing this for 2.5 years and I've had so much fun, but I don't really necessarily want to do it anymore." I went, "Oh." And the thing is though, I love that man and I want to keep doing shows with him. But the thing is, though, something had to change for me. And that's who I'm responsible for is me. And me communicating with him first decided that, okay, so now life clarifications with Natasha, um, Dance of the Soul are going to be combined into Every Day with an Angel. That's going to be my new podcast as of September. Every Day with an Angel. Kind of like that. People always told me, Natasha, you have this love that it just sits with you and it's always a blessing to be with. So with that, Every Day with an Angel. Okay. So now I have this life-altering experience that's going to happen to me. I have a new podcast. I'm doing one show a week every Wednesday at this time, 4 o'clock Pacific time. If I don't have a guest, I will be live on Instagram like I still am, but it's going to change the name. The thing is, though, the cause and effect. Regan's going to be with me he said every third Wednesday, right? There's going to be other people with a guest, but I'm going to miss seeing him every Monday. And that's one thing that happens. Thank you for that. Sounds good. Thank you for that confirmation. That it's one of those things that change happens, and I'm causing this change, right? I had this big push intuitively, this big push in my feeling that I need to change my position in the podcast scenario. And doing this, I'm feeling even more blessed. And what it is that how can we negotiate these stories, right? So understanding that cause and effect, everything is a cause and effect. You make a decision and affects dot, 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 dot. That's a life altering experience. But the thing is, though, remembering that sometimes in a life altering experience that we can't leap through it. We have to walk through it. We have to go through it in a little walking way, right? Like for me, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew it was the right thing to do, but I could not change my YouTube channel until I got verification from Regan, right? And so even though I felt the call to jump, I couldn't jump yet, right? And I know that there's some things going on. So, going into this, when we cause our life altering experience, and yes, it is a life altering experience because I'm dropping 2 podcasts and making it 1, right? I'm changing the whole title. I'm even changing how my podcasts are on Spotify and stuff. So this life altering experience is like, holy crap, how are people going to receive this? What's going to happen? Where am I going to go with this? Feels too right. It feels too right to do this. Now, I did ask a couple of good friends, what do you think about it? You know, kind of give it a little bit of tug and pull. They were like, sounds wonderful to me, right? So going forward, remembering that sometimes when we make our choices, buying a new car, right? Wow, what experience did that teach me? Oh, I have different payments now. Oh, I need to budget. Oh, I have to be careful about where I park now. Oh, all these different things, right? So when we have to shift our life because of a scenario, that what can we do about it? Pay attention to the details. Pay attention to what we need to do. Slow down and be with the moments of it. Be where we're at. So, like when my girlfriend told me this the first day of our trip, wow, what a miracle that was. I knew I needed a key. She had the key for me, right? She's very intuitive. 2 days later, I had another life altering experience. What was I going to do about that one? How was I going to work through it? What was I going to do about it? Did I have to come home or do I need to stay? Sometimes when we're going through a life altering experience, we cannot jump to the next step. And thank you, Stephanie, for telling me that you think it sounds beautiful. I'm so excited about it. And the picture that my girlfriend saw when she saw this was, and I can't show you on my phone because I'm on Instagram on my phone, is a cat with a butterfly on its nose, bringing the spirit world to the earthly realm. That's the theme of that podcast, right? Bringing the spirit world to the earthly realm and how to negotiate with them. Doesn't that sound magical? I'm just in awe of when we get handed a key. So when you're going through a life altering experience, if you can, see the benefits of it. See the reasons for it happening, if you can. Sometimes we have to see that afterwards. But at the same time, though, going into, thank you, Stephanie, that, going into this moment of anybody's life altering experience, that, yeah, you got to follow the nudge. Thank you, Stephanie, because life is nudging us somewhere. And remembering that sometimes life altering experiences, like I had one at the end of this school season this last year, and I really questioned, am I supposed to still be here at this school? Am I supposed to still be in the school system? Am I supposed to still be doing my 4 hours? Which I'm grateful for that job because the fact that that gives me health insurance and it gives me a purpose to help out in another way besides my intuitive work. Life hasn't shown me yet that I can make the leap, but it's shown me I can take the leap of steps. And when we're in the moments of life altering experiences, that it is wise to take the step where we're going. So as I'm walking my fingers really slowly, right? We can't run, we can't be there, but it's walking really slowly because details are important when you're going through a life altering experience, right? Details are important. So, like this one where my girlfriend got me the nudge to take, this new podcast, I had to check in to see if it was my truth, right? I had to check in with where I was going to go with this. And then I ended up getting other nudges from her that the universe was speaking through her because I was still in process of dealing with the second life altering experience. So I wasn't as clean of a listener as I was. And she has perspectives, and that's thing is that when you're going through a life-altering experience, or you're feeling the nudge to have a life-altering experience, sometimes it's nice to get a different perspective. Talk to a friend you can trust. Talk to someone who you're valued with. And when we're going into this dance of life-altering experiences, that, go to the source that you believe in, right? Go into something that can be a benefit to you, because sometimes we got to trust something bigger than ourselves. Sometimes we have to trust something bigger than ourselves. And I know for me that I am always trusting something greater than bigger than me. I trust the angels that I work with. I trust my guides that I work with. I trust my higher power that I work with. I trust myself that I can go through these life-altering experiences. Life-altering experiences could be an illness, right? So how do you take care of your body after a life-altering experience? I know for me, I had a life-altering experience where my body stopped producing hormones, and well, there was hormones, but they weren't working as very well. So my adrenals and thyroid and gallbladder, and because I had gone through so much stress, I was in fear and flight a lot of the years of my life because of scenarios, and frankly, if you live with someone who's an alcoholic for many years, it does cause that. And then I had, the deaths of my parents and family members, and then having kids at the same time, and then having other scenarios happening, right? That, you go into that fear and flight scenario, your body shuts down. And I can tell you that when you're going through a life-altering experience, that your body gets stressed. It really gets stressed. So take rescue remedy. Make sure you stay up on your B's and your D's and your A's and your K's and whatever, your the vitamins that you're in right now, because the fact that, and double up on them sometimes. A lot of people, when they're going through pain, they take ibuprofen instead of a vitamin. Well, it's not wrong to take, something to kill the pain, but yet at the same time, we got to take other things, because I can tell you that when you're going through a life altering experience, sometimes, you need to have a night where you drink a little. But don't drink your way through that life altering experience, because otherwise you're not going to look at it in the same way. And I can tell you that going into these life altering experiences, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't eat. I do like the sugar, but I'm trying to do better with that. My adrenals and stuff like that are appreciating me being off the sugar, right? Because the fact that we get stressed. But yet the thing is, though, everything we go through in life, there's something to learn from it. And I can tell you, going back to the story of when on my last day of my job, and my cat passed away, who was my familiar. She was my support team here. That, going through that grief, if I didn't take care of my body, with good nutrition and vitamins and stuff like that, that I wouldn't be who I am today with the shine that I do today, right? So be you, be kind to you as we're doing this. There is only one life we're living, this one here. Now, I have a multi-life intuitive. I'm a multi-life intuitive. I know I've had other lifetimes, but I'm telling you, they were with that body. They weren't with this body, right? And so with that take care of the body you have in this moment. It's going to be a benefit, because the fact that if we treat ourselves better when we're going through life-altering experience, then the days after, when we're having to negotiate the new normal, because every moment creates a new normal, right? So let's say if you needed to go around the block because you couldn't go to, there was a road blockage, right? It created a new normal. Every ending is a new normal. Every new beginning is a new normal. So how can you negotiate that? It doesn't mean that we have to change our personalities. It doesn't mean that we have to change who we are. But what it means is that we can upgrade ourselves. Because I can tell you, changing jobs at the same time my cat passed away really helped me to get my feet underneath me, actually. It had me kind of come in and hone into who I am. It made me think about what I can do to keep my feet underneath me. And that's that whole story of why we go through things, is how can we make sure that we keep our feet underneath us? Things are going to be hard. Things are going to be easy. Life is going to be ups and downs. Life is going to be consistently moving forward. Even if we are a soul, things keep moving forward, right? Evolution. It's called evolution. Be prepared, though, to be you when you're going through these. Emotions get triggered bad when you're going through life-altering experience. Like I was saying, grief and all these other things. So be you, take care of you, because nobody knows what's going to come out of that life-altering experience. Sometimes it's better. Sometimes we figure things out for the better. Sometimes there's greater wisdom. When we take care of us, our body appreciates it. So, rescue remedy, again, is a good thing to take when you're going through life-altering experiences. Your vitamins, B's and D's. Oh my gosh, helps so much. So, with that, if you would like some help going through your life-altering experiences, or finding out about what emotions are hiding or helping you not go through life-altering moments, right? Sometimes we stay in a norm because it's easier, because what we know is better than what we don't know. And change is a bunch of unknown. Do you think that when I was changing my job from the position that what I was cut from to going into this new position, that within the next year I was going to cut my job down 2 hours, so I was only there for 4 hours, just enough to get health insurance, right? So going into this dance, how can we negotiate this story? By being us, understanding its emotions, understanding that it's going to zap our energy sometimes, that it's going to do all these things, but it's going to be beneficial, because every ending is a new beginning. What if this is creating some magic in my life? What if this is going to be to the better? What if? What if? And when you're going through life-altering experiences, the more you can have the what if scenario. What are we going to do about it? What if? So with that, I hope this is helpful. There is going to be one more Life Clarifications with Natasha, just because Dance of Soul is still going on. And it will be next Wednesday. And then after that, I'm going to start being Every Day with an Angel. Kind of rings. It does ring. Feels really good. I feel very blessed. But the other thing is, one up, usually the universe balances with something else, right? So how can you negotiate the world as we have it? The ups and the not so ups. By persevering, breathing, looking around, stopping, pausing for a minute, evaluating, what can I do next? Where can I go next? We're all here. We're all doing our better. Some of us has better tools than others, but trusting yourself through the process will be a good thing, because you've got it. Okay, so in this moment, I am going to do some card readings. So if you would like a card reading, I am going to do Ascendant Masters. And thank you, Stephanie. I am excited about that change. And the other life-altering experience I had is going to create good change too. So I'm feeling very blessed. Or the Angel deck. So the Angel deck. So if you would like a card reading, What deck would you like to have? Let's see. I'm going to do some card readings. So the Ascendant Masters have different ones. So Angel or Ascendant Masters, if you would like a deck, a card reading. And on Instagram, I can do the same thing. So just let me know on Instagram or on other platforms and more. And if you're listening from Twitter, Angel deck, please. Okay. If you're listening on Twitter, or X now is what it's called, you go to my YouTube channel, Natasha Venter AC, and I would be grateful to hear what you would like to have. So, Veronica, Angel deck. Okay. So you know the drill, Veronica. Looking forward to our appointment tomorrow. Okay, let's see. There we go. So put your intention out there and see what's... So Stephanie, would you like a card too? Okay, Angel deck. What do the angels want to tell Veronica to answer her intention? Woo! Oh, you almost had a full reading there, girl. Angel deck. Okay. So Isaiah. So this is for Veronica. So Isaiah. Okay. So it's a good time to give birth to new ideas and situations in your life. I am watching over you, guiding you, protecting you during these changes. Okay. So Isaiah. What Isaiah would like you to know, Veronica, is that he would like you to know that you are going through these changes and they are pushing every button that you have, my dear. He's saying, and he's also saying that you are stronger than you've ever known you to be. And he is also saying to you, Veronica, that the wisdom that you have and you've gained, even though those years that you thought you weren't your better, you gained some knowledge in those years. And he says, remember to pull upon those. And remembering that you are very loved and your intuition is growing. So trust that. He's saying. He's also letting you know that this is a time that it's time to plant seeds to what you want to grow. And this will whatever you're thinking that you're wanting will come in fruition more towards, let's say, January of next year. But what you want to do is make sure that you have your you have your ducks in a row kind of thing. So he's telling you to make sure that you have your paperwork knowing and that kind of stuff. The changes are more in the human realm than it is necessarily in the job realm right now, I'm feeling. But at the same time, though, you are blessed and you are loved, my dear. I hope that helps. Okay. So angel deck, Stephanie. Okay. Anybody on Instagram would like a card. Okay. So Stephanie, what I'd like you to do is just put some intention out there. What would you like an answer? What is your question? I don't need to know it. Just put it out there. Kind of like you're putting the, I'm asking for. Okay. So Veronica, I hope that helped you. Okay. So this is for Stephanie. Yes, it really helped. I'm glad. Okay, so got it. Okay, so Stephanie, here we go. Glad it helped Veronica. Okay, this is for Stephanie. Angels, this is for Stephanie. What is she wanting? Woo! Okay, now I cannot give you a full reading here, but this is what fell out. Okay, so the top deck card was Francisca. Okay, Francisca. What do you desire right now? Visualize it and it will come about. Negativity will block the process. So in other words, what she's saying to you, Stephanie, is that When you are walking in your path, remembering that little words make a difference. So when you're looking at, like for me, I was having a conversation with my kid, and instead of saying something more negative about it, I said, no, I want things to grow for the both of us, right? So what can you do to keep the more positive things going? Because it is about visualizing it. It's not about visualizing that you want a red car with great tires and brakes. You want a car that's going to feel good to drive, that has as little visual impediments as possible, that you are going to be able to afford it, that it feels good to be in, and the people who ride in my car can feel very blessed being in it too. And so, how do you feel about things? How do you negotiate things, right? So with that, visualize it and be careful of your sabotaging little words, is what she's saying. Okay, so the next card here is Merlin. Merlin, you are confused and indecisive because you do not have enough information. Do research or seek expert advice before making a decision. Okay, so this is pertaining to the planets in retrograde right now. So in other words, like for me, I got the message about my YouTube channel changing like 2 to 3 weeks ago, right? But I couldn't make the jump. So right now it's the time to, what do you want to do to get yourself there, right? Because you need to visualize what you want, right? And then make sure you get your details so that you don't jump into something that you're not ready to be willing to walk into, right? So Merlin says you're confused and indecisive because you don't have enough information. Do research and seek expert advice before making decision. So remember, it is a path, it is a journey. Collect, because trust, surrender, accept, because you don't have all the information yet. Okay, the next card is Serena. So Serena, so I am the angel of abundance. You will receive the money that you need. God is in charge of how it will happen. Have faith. So remembering that it is about giving and receiving, that we, we, me, we. And so, like for me, what I've started doing is, in the breath out, is to do service. I get blessed by you, and then I am on the receiving end. So blessed out, breath in, received in, right? Usually I've done the breath out and forgot to put the receive in, right? So remember abundance. So there again is, picture what you want, gain information. You can receive if you ask for the assistance. Caution is warranted, Bridget says. Look deeper into the situation before processing further. So, okay, so I've got this. Okay, so here's the story. Think, do research. Have abundance in your thinking. Do more research and wait and breathe, right? Because Uriel is here to help you with your emotions and healing the process. So, in other words, breath in, get information, breath out. Is it time for me to walk yet? Breath in, think about it. Breath out, what can I do next to get the abundance? Breath in, I'm working on my emotions as I'm going through this. Because I can tell you, doing this new podcast, it's not just flipping the name over. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm stepping up into that name every day with an angel. I am stepping into that name. What can I do? Yes, I'm not going to change who I am. I'm going to run my shows a lot like the same way I'm doing now, but there's going to be something with the intention, bringing the spirit realm to the earthly, life we live, right? So your emotions are healing, which enables you to open greater to love. I will help you release anger and unforgiveness from your heart and your mind. So it sounds like it's time to do some thinking, do a little action, do a little bit more outside research, do a little bit more thinking, get some ideas, do a little bit more research, find out what your abundance will be about it, your prosperity with it. And know through the whole process, you're working on your emotions. So be kind to yourself and get the process. I hope that helps. A little mini reading for you, my dear. So blessed be to you. Let's see. We are at the last minutes here. Is there anybody else who would like a card? I'll wait a minute and then I'll do a card reading for the time for this next week between shows. Anybody else? Okay. You're more than welcome. I'm so grateful. And Veronica, I'm sorry I didn't pull more cards for you there, my girl. But we have a session tomorrow, so I feel like there's going to be some stuff coming out for you there. So, okay, this is for everybody. So, and remembering that in those cards that I pulled for those two, that if you got something out of it, that's good, because the universe is here to help us all, right? And so sometimes we can glean some information off that. Woo. Okay. Okay. So this is a four card reading too. I guess it's time for me to interpret what the universe is saying. So right, trough. So right. So I can tell you that when I was going through my life-altering experiences, one of my girlfriends said that, have you thought about writing down your inspirations? So that's what I'm starting to do, is write down in your inspirations. So remember that when we get things out of our head, sometimes when we're going through life-altering experiences or we're going through our life, that we forget that those little inputs, those little ideas, those little moments as we're sitting at a light, or that kind of stuff, if we don't stop and write them down, they get forgotten. And, that's what we can do for ourselves, is make sure that we journal what we're going through. It doesn't mean that we have to say a lot of things. It could be, like for me, I titled New Podcast, Every Day with an Angel. Intention, bringing the earthly, or bringing the spirit realm to the earthly life we live, right? And then there's a few more things that came up, but I didn't go into deep detail. So write. It's time to write what we're going through a little bit. Give ourselves grace. We can't remember everything that we're happening or the insights that we're getting. So write things down a little bit, okay? Another thing is Pan. So fertility. So this is a time to really, oh my gosh. I am seeing that there has been so many people breaking through and having huge breakthroughs, but it takes communication. It takes knowings, it takes settlement, it takes us to be grounded, right? So with that we can have our fertility, right? We can have our understanding of growth and abundance, but we have to do the homework to get there, right? Because it takes persistence. So this is La and persistence. I can tell you, it was very persistent of me to wait. I could have leaped, but I had perseverance that it wasn't the right time, right? It wasn't the right time to make this leap. And so with that you can have persistence in going through things. And remember, it is a journey. Like for me, I started 2.5, 3 years ago on this journey of really making helping my adrenals, pituitary gland, thyroid, liver, gallbladder, small intestines, all those more healthier. And it was a 2.5, 3 year process before I can actually say, I'm feeling better. Wow, I'm feeling better, right? But I had persistence through it. So remembering that life takes persistence to get through what we're going through. because of the fact that there's a lot going on out there. And when we clear, this is El Mara. He says, clear and shield your energy. So with that when we're going through life-altering experiences, when we're going through our change, and we're doing our things that we're getting called to do, to write, to have the abundance that we want, to walk the path. But there again is about taking care of us, because there are energy vampires out there. There are these things that are happening. And I ask the question quite a bit, is there something attached to me? And when I say that, I know that my guides are going to take it off of me, right? So honor yourself as you're going through that. Sometimes I come out of like a situation, I shake like a dog, right? I shake things off because it's time for me to let go of what's going on around me. Crap. When we're going through life-altering experiences, sometimes we need to stand in the shower and just let the water run off for us so that we can attune to that energy, right? So take care of you and know that you're blessed. And remembering that whatever your belief system is, that we always have angels, we always have guides, we always have somebody to support us. So fall into their arms and ask for assistance when you're going through life-altering experiences. I can tell you, it helps. It does help. So feel blessed, and I'm looking forward to being here next Wednesday with you to do the last life clarifications with Natasha. And then after that, it will be on Every Day with an Earth Angel. And on Monday with Regan Forston, we are going to be talking about communication through change. Because things are happening. Things are happening. So blessed be to you. Blessed week. Blessed life. And remembering, as we're getting triggered by these planets in retrograde, what are they here to teach us? What is it here to teach us? Blessed to you. Bye now.